Giants beat the Eagles to improve to 4-7. And this is the type of game that we've seen the Giants win this year, and I guess also in the Joe Judge era, where they really rely heavily on the defense. And the Giants, their play at MetLife Stadium has, from a win-loss perspective, has improved. So as this game was going on, like, I felt as if the Giants had a chance of winning. The offense continues to be absolutely terrible. Abysmal, quite frankly. The Giants did, in fact, updating from last episode, they did fire Jason Garrett, and all signs kind of point in that direction. As Joe Judge really had some scathing remarks in the post game after the Bucs Monday Night Football game. Garrett was fired. Freddie Kitchens basically has taken over play calling responsibilities. He is, kind of the interim offensive coordinator. And I didn't expect to see much change in this game. And yeah, it was not very good. And there's a lot of question marks there. But I guess the one thing is it's a good feeling to beat the Eagles. I've said it for a while now. I would really prefer the Giants to lose these games down the stretch. I sadly don't see a whole lot of value in winning these games for many reasons. With that, like I said, with that being said, beating the Eagles feels good. I mean, they're one of, if not the biggest rivals of the Giants. The Eagles were feeling good coming into this game, felt like they had a chance to really push for a playoff spot. And of course, what happened last year, where the Eagles basically threw that game against Washington to really eliminate the Giants from winning the NFC East. Things have changed since then. I mean, the Eagles have a new coaching staff. I mean, really completely different situation now, but still, you have to go as a Giant fan whenever you can beat the Eagles. So you can't be too upset. But again, the offense is just absolutely terrible. And the game script worked in the Giants' favor here, where Jalen Hurts had to throw the ball at times, and that's what you want to do. He's not a great passer. He can run the ball well. The Eagles ran the ball with pretty good, effectiveness. They had 208 yards rushing to the Giants 70. So, the Saquon Barkley situation, to me, he is, he broke off one big run in this one. He gets one big run, 30-yard run, but he had 13 carries for 40 yards, meaning you take that one run out, that's 12 carries for 8 yards. I mean, the guy just doesn't look right. Simply put, there's no juice. I don't know. But, Daniel Jones in this one, didn't make mistakes. Wouldn't say he, did a whole lot, but didn't make many mistakes. Kenny Golladay got involved late with a couple of, bigger pass plays. He ends up with 3 catches for 50 yards. But, the Giants, the offense is just non-existent. And that's not a recipe for success in this league. And here's the thing. The Eagles turned the ball over 4 times. And I'll say the Giants defense, it does get its fair share of turnovers as well. Like when the Giants have won these games, or just in general, that defense does get, like I said, they get turnovers. And yet they still only had 13. The Giants scored 13 points in this game, and they had 4 turnovers, 3 interceptions. To be fair, one of the interceptions was at the end of the half, so obviously you're not going to score off that. But still, and I guess the fumble was late as well. But the point is that, like, when you win the turnover out 4-0, you better win. They did, but this was a game where you felt like whoever took the lead was going to be, at a major advantage, or at least the Eagles were going to be, more so in the Eagles sense. Like, if the Eagles took the lead, that could have been deadly to the Giants. And if Jalen Hurts had to throw the ball, that could be a problem for the Eagles, and it was. But, there was a couple of punts early, really a couple of 3-and-outs for both teams. And then the Giants were able to get a field goal, because that's what they do. There's a 20-yard pass to Evan Ingram on a flea flicker play, actually. So that got them down into Eagle territory. Daniel Jones was running the ball a little bit there. He had a 14-yard run. And what ends up happening, it's a 35-yard field goal for Graham Gano. Then the Eagles come back and they drive the field. A big play to Quez Watkins down the sideline, and it ends up where it's a 3rd and 5 at the Giant 20, and just not smart by Hurts. He gets picked off by Darnay Holmes. So, if you throw an incomplete pass there or whatever, not an interception, you're probably looking at a field goal. So a lot of missed opportunities for the Eagles at different points in this game, that being one of them. So Darnay Holmes with the interception. Keep in mind, Logan Ryan's still out with COVID. There was no Kadarius Toney, no Sterling Shepard. So those are big losses for the offense. There was also no Kyle Rudolph, no Caden Smith. So the Giants were definitely shorthanded on the offensive side. And defensively, Adoree Jackson did get hurt in this game and he would leave. And I think Darnay Holmes, he also got hurt and left this game later on as well. So they were pretty thin. I mean, I think Aaron Robinson was getting, more snaps than we've seen in a while. Stuff like that. But then the Giants, up 3-0, they are able to move the ball where John Ross, gets a 19-yard reception. And the Giants on 4th and 3 at the Eagle 33 decided to go field goal. And I'm not surprised they did that, but come on, you're 3 and 7. Show some balls and go for it. But they don't. And they miss, and Gano misses a 51-yard field goal. So Graham Gano, who was really, honestly, lights out last season, was not quite as much effectiveness this season. He's been good, but room for improvement. So 3-0. Giants still, and they get a 3 and out, and then the Giants are, they move the ball. The Giants were kind of moving the ball in bits and pieces in this one, but it ultimately results in the Giants punting. And then the Eagles, this was a crazy drive, 15-play, 92-yard drive in the last 6 minutes and 12 seconds of the half. And we know the Giants defense has had its troubles at the end of the first half. And the Eagles are kind of methodically moving the ball downfield. Hurts is running the ball a lot, a ton, in fact. Boston Scott even had a touchdown that was, brought back because of a holding penalty, which reminds me that Jason Kelsey, the center for the Eagles, he was hurt. He would come back in this game, but that was a big loss for them at the time. And on a 2nd and 12 from the Giant 23 with 21 seconds left, Jalen Reagor gets a 21-yard catch to the Giant 2. So that puts the Eagles at 1st and goal at the 2 with 15 seconds left. And the Eagles just, with that play, called their second timeout. So they have 1 timeout left. And that put the Eagles in a little bit of a tough predicament. It's an incomplete pass, and then it's a 1-yard gain for Hurts. So they burned that last timeout right there with 8 seconds left. So it's 3rd and goal at the 9. It would be 3rd and goal at the 2. Yeah. I'm pretty sure, yeah. It was 3rd and goal at the 2 with 8 seconds left, and Hurts kind of scrambles, and he ends up throwing an interception at the end of the half to take Crowder. I don't know what he was thinking. Just the Sirianni and the play calling was off. Again, if you throw an incomplete pass, you do something there, it puts you in a situation where you either go for it on 4th and goal at the 2, or you kick the field goal to tie it up. So just the Eagles just throwing points away. And, the Giants defense, I guess, getting tough when they have to. So second half comes around. Eagles start out with the ball, but they would go for it on 4th and 2. They would have 3rd and 2 at the Giant 40. And for some reason, they didn't want to run the ball. Hurts throws 2 incomplete passes in a row. I just didn't understand any of that. So then the Giants get the ball, and they get a touchdown drive. And Devontae Booker gets a 17-yard catch. And again, I really think Devontae Booker looks a lot better than Saquon Barkley. It's not even really close. Darius Slayton, 17-yard catch, and a 3rd and goal at the 5 where Jones throws to Evan Ingram in the end zone, and they do call a pass interference penalty on the Eagles, and it gives them 1st goal at the 1, and it would be Daniel Jones to Chris Myrick. Yeah. If you don't know who he is, I don't blame you. Touchdowns the last 2 weeks from Andrew Thomas and Chris Myrick, which is more than Kenny Golladay has this season. So pretty insane. 1-yard touchdown gives the Giants a 10-0 lead, which is pretty big in a game like this where, points are hard to come by and the Eagles are not good at passing. And what do you know? Next drive, interception. Hurts throws a bomb down the field, and Xavier McKinney gets the interception. So that's 3 at this point for Hurts, and he would end up with that 3 interceptions for Hurts. The Giants would then go 3 and out, and the Eagles would get their 1 touchdown drive. They would Miles Sanders had some runs, Jalen Hurts, Boston Scott, and eventually it would be Boston Scott that would score a 1-yard touchdown. Cuts the lead to 10-7. The Giants then go 3 and out, but the Eagles don't really do a whole lot from there. They would punt, and then the Giants would get a key 12-play, 70-yard drive that results in a field goal because, of course, the Giants weren't going to get a touchdown to put the game completely out of reach. They, of course, were going to have to settle for a field goal. But on that drive, that's where Kenny Golladay had 2 18-yard catches. He had only had 1 catch to that point, but he would get the 2 18-yard receptions. Myrick gets a 10-yard catch, and eventually it would be a 39-yard field goal for Graham Gano, puts the Giants up 13-7. The Eagles had the ball down 6, 2:46 to go, and on a first and 10 at midfield, Boston Scott's running, and he fumbles it. Dexter Lawrence, I think, forces the fumble, and it's recovered by Julian Love. Just a bad fumble by Boston Scott. So that makes it 13-7. And at this point, then the Giants, it's a Barkley run for 1, Jones run for -1, and then Jones an intentional sack basically so the Eagles would have to burn all their timeouts. So very conservative by the Giants. I'm not surprised, but it's extremely conservative. So the Eagles get the ball back with no timeouts left, down by 6 at their own 41. It was also a bad punt by Riley Dixon. So the Eagles move the ball. Kenneth Gainwell gets a couple of receptions, actually 3 of them, but it stalls out once the Eagles get to the 27. And long story short, Jalen Hurts throws it past to Jalen Reagor with 4th and 10 at the 27 with 24 seconds left, and it's right near the end zone, and he could have easily caught it, but he doesn't. He drops the ball. I'm not sure if the Giant defender deflected it. I don't think he did. He just dropped it. So the Eagles came very close there, but the Giants hang on for the 13-7 win. Credit goes to James Bradbury. He had a very good game. He shut down Devontae Smith, who obviously a lot of talk about him with the fact that the Eagles traded up ahead of the Giants to take Smith. There was thought that maybe the Giants wanted to draft him, but Bradbury really shut Smith down. But, the Giants win at 13-7. To me, again, the offense needs to be a big story. This is continued failure, honestly. But the defense, with that being said, the defense has had their moments. Patrick Graham has had his good games. The defense has had their good games. And that was another one where they really did confuse Jalen Hurts. Giants are 4-7 now. Again, they're in that no man's land situation, which is very frustrating as a fan. And now they head to now it's a couple of games on the road against AFC teams, at Miami and then at the Chargers. Miami's a team that is actually, there was expectations for them coming into the season, but they struggle. But now lately they're playing pretty well, especially at home too. They have a long home stretch. And that's included, of course, in this game against the Giants. So Giants will have their hands full. That defense is rounding into form. Tua, I think, he shouldn't be someone that's tough to stop, but this will be an interesting test. I think both these teams are built somewhat similarly. Brian Flores and Judge coming from that, Belichick coaching tree. Both teams are kind of in a similar spot. So we'll see what this brings. Again, playoffs are, very much not in play. But, the Giants win against the Eagles 13-7. And we will see what next week has to bring in Miami.